State Representatives Jane Smith and Mandy Powers-Norrell are the Democratic nominees for governor of South Carolina. In this special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I speak exclusively with both James and Mandy one-on-one. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. Well, Jane Smith and Mandy Powers-Norrell, it's so good to see you.
Well, it's great to see you.
Be here.
Likewise, likewise.
Thank you.
I know that you guys just left the road coming back from Beaufort with the Beaufort County Water Festival Parade. What was that like in your mind?
It's a great time.
It was awesome. It was hot, and we were near the front of the parade. So a friend of James drove us, and he served in the
Afghanistan
in
together.
Afghanistan. And so he, was sort of keeping pace with the parade, but we were trying to hand out candy because you can't throw it in Beaufort because they don't want children running, cars. It's really dangerous. So we were trying to hand the candy out and talk to people, and then we would realize he was way far ahead of us, and we'd have to run in that heat. And I swear, we looked like we'd been running through the sprinklers when we got done. We were so sweaty.
It was the Beaufort County Water Festival 5K for us.
Yes, it was.
We were running. But it was seriously, we had a great time, and there were so many folks that we saw, along the route who knew all about the campaign. They were very enthusiastic, very supportive of what we're doing, and so it was a great morning. I want to go back as governor and lieutenant governor next year.
Yes. We'll see what happens with that.
Exactly.
You talk about what people know about the campaign. As we sit here right now, who is Jane Smith and Mandy Powers-Norrell?
Okay.
You want to
You
go
want to
first?
go first?
For me, I'm father, husband. I've got 4 great kids. Public service has been what I've been all about my whole life. Whether it be at the State House or combat military service overseas. It's all been about I think living for things that are more important than self. Making sure that we do everything we can to leave this place better than we found it. We all share that. We want a little better slice of life for our kids than what we had for ourselves. And so everything in my life has been about that. And so the next step, I think, is really to deliver on the promise for South Carolina. Make sure everybody has access to high quality education, has access to affordable health care, and we bring our utility rates down, be more competitive, and enhance our job opportunities here. And that's what I hope to do as governor.
Mandy, what's that one word to describe you?
One word?
Oh,
I don't need to know. I didn't let somebody else describe me with a word. What would you say?
Talented,
Oh,
engaging.
thank you.
Smart.
That's a bunch of
What
words.
was your secret? What was your superpower?
Oh, connecting.
Connecting.
Connecting with people.
I think that is it. She has the ability to connect all walks of life. Instantaneous. And people can see that she's somebody that can trust. Mandy's always lived thinking of others, not tearing people apart, but bringing people together. And you know that about her, and that's a quality that is going to be so important in leading our state, and one of the many reasons why I asked her to join me in this race.
You talk about,
That's so sweet.
and you talk about that. Let me go to July 17th as far as, the political roughness that's going on right now. You said this on your Facebook page: the RGA, meaning the Republican Governors Association, continues to insult South Carolina voters with this tired, false, divisive drivel that has driven so many good people away from politics.
Yes.
I'm running for governor to serve all of South Carolina, not one side of a political divide. This campaign is not about big government or small government. It's about small, smart government, which will be a big change. What is the government like right now under the leadership of Governor Master Umar?
Well, and to mention that, what I was so gratified by the response there, we ended up having the current House Majority Leader, a Republican, another one of our colleagues in the House, come to our defense and say that what they were saying is garbage, because we got to get away from these pitted, partisan battles that don't serve anybody in our state. And so,
But they were attacking you on the roads bill.
Yeah.
And the roads bill was supported by 80% of the legislature and the vast majority of Republicans.
Yes.
So And so that's why, Republicans are coming to James's defense, because they supported the same exact thing. And
That's exactly right.
I'm sorry to
No, you're
but I
right.
wanted to
That's
make
a
sure
great
that
point. And the point about smart government, right? What's not getting done now? Things like when the governor vetoes school buses. Well, it makes no sense. It's not a smart move. The new school buses cost less to operate than the old school buses. Or when we're not expanding access to health care through accepting the federal funds that could $2 billion a year. Smart government's going to make sure we leverage that resource for the benefit of the people of our state, that we have a South Carolina plan that supports preventative care, and we make the right choices there. Same with our schools. We know the wrong decision is to arm our teachers with weapons, as our governor would suggest for his plan for education. I believe it's to arm them with better pay, because we've got to, if we value teachers and what they do in public education, then we have to get above the Southeastern average in teacher pay, because we've got this huge crisis of losing teachers now. We've got to respond to that. There's a whole host of other things about reforms that we need to have in the classroom that would be driven by the experience of classroom teachers. But these are all the kinds of decisions that I believe are what smart government is about.
And Mandy, when you think of education, where's the state of that right now in your mind?
Well, I came through the public education system in Lancaster, and I sent my children to the same schools that I went to in Lancaster County. And, when I came through, Governor Riley had been our governor, and he was just the education governor. And I think our teachers felt very valued, and our students felt very valued and supported. And I was able to harness all of the opportunities available to me in the public school system, and turn them into a successful career. I was first in my family to go to college, and then I was able to get a scholarship to law school and go to law school beyond that. And I credit the basis of that in our public school system and the education that I got in Lancaster County. But as I visit schools today and I ask children, what do you want to be when you grow up? They're going to give you the same answers that I would have given at their age. But for a generation, we've underfunded our public schools, and so I think that the ability of children to achieve what we call the American dream, the idea that no matter who you are or where you come from, you can achieve anything. It's that we're not funding that promise like we did a generation ago. And so I think that we owe a lot to our children, and I think we almost have, I don't want to say a lost generation, but a generation that we have not treated as well as we should, and we have not valued them as well as we should under the leadership that we've had for so long. So that's why I'm so excited about James becoming the next governor, because we're going to see that change in our public education system, and it's going to be a tremendous one.
And let me turn to tariffs. You said this, James, on your Facebook page on July 19th, under the headline in the NewYorkTimes.com, "Tariffs imperil a hometown business in South Carolina," meaning BMW. You said this quote, "This horrible news about South Carolina in the New York Times today. These tariffs are a dagger aimed at the heart of our state's economy, threatening thousands of the best jobs we have. And what has Henry McMaster done? Absolutely nothing."
Well, those are the facts. And there's no disputing that. Republicans or Democrats, that is exactly what's happening in our state. And actually, in terms of where we fit nationwide, we're among the most severely harmed by these job-killing tariffs. And it's all about leadership, right? We have to have a governor who's going to stand up and fight for the people of our state, for our families, for our jobs, and for our future. And to have this going on, and this, there's this great relationship between the current governor and our current president, then you would think we might hear something about the most grave economic concern facing South Carolina, and standing up and fighting against the decision that was made by the president to impose these tariffs and to start this trade war, which is doing nothing but a tax on South Carolina families and threatening some of the best jobs we have. And historically, how we got here was through governors who worked very closely with the legislature, the business community, and helped attract and create the conditions for these jobs to be here and these companies to arrive. That is what I'll do as governor. I'll continue that same tradition that Carol Campbell had, Dick Riley, certainly Jim Hodges, many others who helped bring those elements together to provide economic opportunity for our citizens. To fail to speak out on this is to set the killing of these opportunities. And so it's just important that if you're leading the state, you've got to be the leader. You've got to give voice to these concerns, and I'll do that.
And McMaster's been silent on this, and his silence is deafening because it hurts the people of our state. It hurts not only the workers who either won't get these jobs or may lose their jobs. It hurts everyone who depends on them within the economy. You know, the small businesses, the local restaurants, because when people don't have disposable income, they don't spend money in their local communities, and the multiplier of this is tremendous.
Let me get back to Maine and Gervais. Obviously, if you become governor and lieutenant governor, how would you work with the state legislature in your mind?
Well, I mean,
Very well.
very well.
Very well.
That's what we spent a lot of time. I spent 22 years doing. Mandy's 6 years in the General Assembly. You know, we've got nearly 30 years of experience here, and it's the kind of experience is based upon building relationships of mutual respect. You know, finding ways to bring consensus about, and we've done that in a whole host of issues, and we'll do that as governor and lieutenant governor. It is. When you look at what's happened in the past, we had Carroll Campbell, who was a Republican in a Democratic-controlled General Assembly. He got a lot accomplished for our state because he worked closely with the General Assembly and understood the relationship between the two. And that certainly was the case for Jim Hodges, who passed First Steps to School Readiness, a lot of major initiatives when he, as a Democratic governor, had a Republican-controlled General Assembly. It's about bringing people together about the issues that really matter and building consensus. And I know this. Another reason I asked Mandy to join me and to be our next lieutenant governor is I can take whole parts of our legislative agenda and say, Mandy, I need you to take responsibility of this and go get it done. Members of the General Assembly, House and Senate, both sides of the aisle respect her deeply, and she'll be able to move the legislative agenda forward for South Carolina. That's your
Thank you. I think so. And you know, anybody who runs for governor and says that they're going to fight the General Assembly clearly doesn't understand how it works, because it's all about relationships. And you know, we've seen Republican governors not be able to get their own agendas accomplished in a Republican-controlled legislature because it's not about party. It's about connecting, and it's about relationships. And we've built those relationships in the House and the Senate, and I think we'll be able to get our agendas passed because of those relationships.
Let me turn here to Charleston. Obviously, I believe Charleston County Council voted Thursday night, according to Channel 5, to hold off taking legal action against the State Infrastructure Transportation Board for pulling out the 526 extension project. And I know that Vic Rawl basically says the motion was made and carried to comply with the governor's request to forego any actions by Charleston County until the governor has an opportunity to try to help us resolve this matter. How did we get here?
You know, it is clear, and we just came from the Municipal Association meeting in Hilton Head, and there'll be an Association of Counties meeting, and I'll be visiting as a part of that, and both Mandy and I will be there. But it's a great example of why a governor has to lead by working with local communities and local leaders in cities and towns all across our state to identify the problems and leverage ways to fix it. You can look at the flooding issues in downtown Charleston. What happened just this week with the crosstown flooding again? There are ways to fix this. I've worked closely with Mayor Tecklenburg to come up with a plan to use some of our accommodation tax resources, that they can have that available to begin dealing with the infrastructure's needs so we can reduce the flooding in downtown Charleston. Very critical to commerce, to moving our families through and to quality of life. Same with the extension. This has got to be a plan that is led by leaders at all levels, local, state. There's certainly federal piece, obviously, but it has got to come together, build a plan, and make good on the commitments. There was a commitment clearly made by the governor that was never fulfilled, and now he's trying to figure out a way to get out of it. I'll work with the communities here, and we'll have a plan that we can rely on that's going to deal with flooding. We'll look at the extension. We'll also look at transportation issues, which are also part of this. Need to be focused to address all of the transportation issues in Charleston.
And another big topic, Mandy, on the campaign trail, really the first congressional district race, and locally, is offshore drilling.
Yes.
Where are we with that issue?
Oh my goodness. You know, I hope it's okay to say this, but Henry McMaster has just, touted his relationship with the president over and over and over again, but it seems like the only person that relationship benefits is Henry McMaster, because he hasn't been able to convince Trump to say no to tariffs that affect South Carolinians terribly, or to exclude South Carolina from his plan for offshore drilling like he did for Florida. And we all, I think one thing that everybody ought to be able to agree on in South Carolina is that offshore drilling would hurt our state terribly. And so it's, right now it's not happening, but every time I look at our coast, I look out on the horizon and think how horrible it would be if we had, something like the Horizon oil spill that they had in the Gulf back in 2010, where the tar balls were washing up and so much oil was being dumped into the ocean. And I think McMaster has said that he supports exploration but not, or testing but not drilling. But I believe the Horizon spill was a testing rig, and it wreaked havoc in the Gulf for a really long time, and they're still seeing the effects of it. It's such a dangerous thing to our state. We rely on our tourism economy tremendously, and there's really no evidence that it would produce very much oil anyway. So I hope and pray that this does not happen in South Carolina, but I know that when we're elected, we're going to fight it tooth and nail.
And let me get back to Columbia. This is the headline from the state newspaper. Scanner Dominion secretly offered $1,500 in refunds to keep lawmakers from cutting rates. When you think of that, what goes through your mind?
Well, as governor, we're going to write energy policy for our state. It's going to be written by the people of our state in their best interest, not by a utility company serving their interest. And that's how what got us here is we've had a system setting rates that's broken, and it's got to be fixed. And we have offered a plan, actually worked to get some important legislation passed. It got through the House, did not get where it needed to be. But in the end, we have a plan to bring rates down, to make sure that the people of our state have a system that is transparent and that is accountable to them, by having a consumer advocate that's independent, that's tied to a statewide office holder, by having an energy office that reports directly to the governor that writes a plan that involves renewable resources and low-cost alternative, and mandating that when there is a low-cost alternative available to the utility, they have to use that and pass the savings on to ratepayers. Other states do this. There's no reason why we should pay one of the highest rates in the country. And we have a plan that's going to get us back there, make us more competitive, make it so much more easier for the hardworking people of our state to pay for the utility bills, but also help us add jobs and opportunities for our citizens.
Mandy, what is going on in the Senate? Is there some sort of secret relationship with them and the companies? What's going on?
I don't know what's going on in the Senate. I am so, the first position I ran for was Senate, and I lost that in 2008. That was one of the greatest blessings of my life, because the House has been so much more interesting to me than the Senate would have been. So yeah, I don't know the answer to that. But the Dominion thing, that if that article is what I think it is, Dominion tried to get a lot of our constituents to lobby us for the Scan and Dominion merger by telling them that if this happens, then you will get a $1,000 check in the mail. And it looks like now they're saying $1,500, but that would be in exchange for keeping the rates so high that they would end up paying about $4,000 or $5,000 for these nuclear plants that would never be developed. And so I liken that to like a payday loan or a subprime loan, where you get a little bit of money now, but you pay it back 10 times more than what you get. And so I'm a bankruptcy lawyer, so I call those a concrete life raft. It looks like a life raft. They throw it out to you, and you grab onto it, but it pulls you straight down. And that's what that refund would have been, I think, to a lot of our utility customers. Something that looks great now, but you're going to end up paying it back many times over.
I was talking with a state representative off camera one time. She basically says it's not really going to be $1,500. It's going to be probably lower than that.
Right, probably much lower. They were saying 1,000 earlier, but it would be different for every family based on their household consumption.
Oh, wow. From here until November, what will the Smith-Norrell team look like in your mind?
Well,
There's not much time between here and November, really. We're probably frenzied and working hard and fast.
yeah, we're not going to take a day for granted. But our team is a talented, diverse group from all across the state who all, like us, care about the future of South Carolina and are invested in making sure that we have leadership that serves the people of our state first and always. And so I can tell you that I'm just so encouraged. South Carolinians of all walks of life, Democrats, Independents, and Republicans who are not satisfied with where we are, because they know if you like the roads, if you like us being 50th in anything, like then status quo will work for you. If you want change, it's going to require new leadership, and new leadership that knows how to get things done in Columbia. And that's why we're seeing so much support for this campaign, because it's not about me being governor or Mandy being about lieutenant governor. It's about the future of our state and our people and the decisions that need to be made on their behalf.
And there's an energy in this campaign and our supporters that I've never seen on any campaign ever. And I've worked on a lot of them. And, everywhere we go, there are just people who I don't think have ever voted in their lives who are excited about November 2018 and the chance to make a difference in South Carolina. There's an urgent need to do it. There's a lot at stake in this election, but people aren't approaching it like it's a burden or like it's a worry. They're approaching it with such excitement and energy that it energizes us. And so when folks come to us and they say, "Aren't you exhausted?" That seems like what everybody says now. "Aren't you exhausted?" And I think our answer is no, we're not, because everybody that we meet in this campaign just fuels us with their energy, and it's the most exciting thing I think I've ever been a part of.
Okay, obviously from the June primary to right now, what have you learned about yourself as politicians?
Well, it's. I tell you, I've learned that I've enjoyed this far more than I ever thought I would. When you think about taking on a statewide campaign, there's a lot. I'd never done this. A lot of unknowns. I mean, a lot of concerns for family and how hard is this going to be, and things you can't control. But what I have learned about myself is just how much I really, really enjoyed this process, and it has been an absolute joy to get a chance to go across our state, meet so many wonderful South Carolinians, and talk about our shared vision for the future of our state. And I love it.
Me too. It does not feel like work at all. And when people ask if we're exhausted, I'm surprised to tell them that I'm not exhausted, because we're doing a lot. We're everywhere, and we're working super hard, but it's not at all tiring, because, like I said, the people who we encounter, it's like they are delivering more energy to us, and it's such an exciting thing to be a part of.
Well, Jane Smith and Mandy Powers-Norrell, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
Thank you so much, Quintin.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to be here.
Likewise, you're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Likewise.
Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Now it's time to get some food.